Good morning, everyone. It's the morning meeting on Two-Way. You've come to the right place if that's what you've been looking for. Thank you for being part of our community. Dan, Sean, and I are excited to have you here. We're going to run through many, many topics, but we're going to do it lickety-split, rock'em sock'em, fast as anything. And then we're going to get to your questions if you're here on the Two-Way platform. And our aim is to get to your questions robustly and have many of you in. So if you've never raised your hand before, today's the day. It's one of those days where if we don't get 3 new people raising their hand, the show is canceled. So if you'd like the show to continue into next week and you've never raised your hand before, be part of the 1/3 required. Each individual, like a snowflake, raise your hand and be part of the conversation. We'd love to have you. Again, we're going to cover a lot of ground. If you're watching on X or on YouTube, you've heard me say this before, perhaps, but many of you are new. Don't raise your hand. Don't put smack in the chat. Think about the concepts: peace, love, understanding, presumption of grace to all. This is a different kind of show in many respects. First of all, you get to participate. Second, it's based on the network news division's morning meetings, where people in the news division sit around from their bureaus all over the world. We've got the Spicer Bureau and the Turrentine Bureau and the Halperin Bureau. And then, of course, peace, love, and understanding. If you watch a lot of political shows, they make their money off of conflict, derision, negativity. We make our money off of Dan's clothes and our sponsors.
All right.
Our sponsors. Dan, how's that for a segue?
It doesn't get any better.
Yeah. Now, you've heard me before. Here's a brief word from our sponsors. You've heard me before talk from our sponsor, Cozy Earth. You've heard me talk about, Dan, what do I typically talk about?
The pants.
The pants. The pants are incredible.
The pants.
Today I'm going to talk about something else. Everybody has like the 3 big moments of their lives, right? For me, here's the list. Birth of my son, seeing Taylor Swift Eras Tour in Toronto. And then when I opened the box for my Cozy Earth sheets and I felt them and I thought, I got to check the address label because these should be sent to like a Persian king or Brad Pitt. These are the nicest, softest sheets I've ever felt. And they're made viscose from bamboo. They come with a 100-day money-back guarantee, night sleep trial, and a 10-year warranty. You won't care about either. Trust me. You'll just be happy you have them. They couldn't be softer and nicer. And everyone should know, order them. They come real quick. And you can get them at 40% off today, thanks to Dan and Sean, who generously are bestowing a 40% discount. Use the code morning40, cozyearth.com, for 40% off their best-selling sheets. Also, again, the pants. I recommend them. Built for life, made to keep up with yours.
My Cozy Earth order is out for delivery today. Yeah. And as I said, I doubled down on the pants. I got the blue. I got the olive this time because it's fall. But I did get those bamboo joggers, Mark. So, and look, I don't mean to maybe this is TMI, but they sold that eye mask for sleeping really well, the bamboo one.
Yeah.
So I threw that into the order. We'll see. So talk about sleep. I got the...
Like AOC, I oppose people wearing masks, so I didn't get the mask, but I got pretty much everything else.
Oh, no, I'm a sleep mask kind of guy.
Yeah. All right, folks, let's run through the day book, and then we'll get to our topics. Not a ton going on, maybe not a surprise that it is Friday, and less stuff happens on Friday. First of all, the White House pool, new media seat, Business Insider, secondary print pool, one of the president's favorite organizations, Politico, and not much on his schedule. Intelligence briefing at 10:30, noon, participates in ambassador credentialing ceremony. That's closed press, unfortunately. 2:00 signs executive orders, currently closed press. 4:00 makes an announcement. I think that's the Pentagon announcement, right? Department of War announcement.
That will be the Department of War.
Yeah. And he'll take questions. So stay tuned for the morning meeting's sister program, Two-Way Tonight. Full coverage of what should be about an hour's worth of presidential questions. And then another dinner in the Rose Garden. Last night's Rose Garden dinner, due to inclement weather, moved inside. So the president, I don't know, did he DJ? I don't know. Does anyone know who's on the guest list for tonight after last night's big tech suck-up? The story, Sean, are you going to dinner at the White House tonight? Is that what I see from the look on your face?
There's a Gonzaga football game tonight, so
okay,
I can't.
Does anybody know who's coming to dinner? President hosts the dinner? Nobody knows. Last night's dinner, incredible. I want to write a book. One of the 17 books on my to-do list is a book about the president's relationship with Mark Zuckerberg. And last night could be the opening scene of the book. Mark Zuckerberg talked about the president the way Dan Turrentine talks about Terry McAuliffe.
Yeah.
With affection, love, respect, camaraderie. Incredible. Anyway, J.D. Vance, don't know what he's up to. House and Senate are now out. Secretary of Energy Wright, underrated member of the cabinet in terms of influence, is speaking at the Council on Foreign Relations in the belly of the swampy beast at 1:30. And half an hour ago, 35 minutes to be exact, the unemployment data came out. And hold your horses, folks. The markets love it because it's bad news. Here's how the cables responded.
Go to this number. Rick, we're going to send it over to you.
Wow, and the data is actually coming across the wires on time. Good job, BLS. Change in non-farm payrolls for the August jobs report, 22,000. 22,000.
I sure do. 22,000 jobs added in the month of August. That was much less than the expectation of 75,000.
Yeah, Kate, breaking moments ago, jobs growth slowed to a crawl last month. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now. So what are these numbers? What are we seeing in this?
Well, Omar, look, after years of resilience, the U.S. job market looks increasingly fragile, especially after the latest numbers that just came out. So this report just moments ago shows the U.S. economy added 22,000 jobs in August. That is very low. It's also just a fraction of the 77,000 jobs that had been expected. The unemployment rate went up to 4.3% from 4.2%.
All right, so the president's going to get his rate cut. It may even be 50 basis points. Last night, the president, who's been briefed, when you see, he took questions at the dinner. He's already been briefed on what the numbers are going to be. He can't say what they are, but he got asked, given that this is the new BLS with your person, the woman you wanted gone, will you respect the numbers? Here's how the president reacted. And again, watch his comment on the jobs numbers, knowing that he knows how bad they're going to be, but he can't say. Roll that, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow we have a jobs report coming out, the first since the BLS commissioner who you fired won't be there. A lot of people will be turning to you to see if you believe the data that's released. Can you commit to saying the data will be credible?
The number, I don't know, they come out tomorrow, but the real numbers that I'm talking about are going to be whatever it is, but will be in a year from now when these monstrous, huge, beautiful places, the palaces of genius, and when they start opening up, you're seeing
palaces of genius.
I think you'll see job numbers that are going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah. Right now, it's a lot of construction numbers, but you're going to see job numbers like
you've never seen before.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So,
thank you, Mr. President. I have
Mark, can you see those goalposts like a couple miles on the horizon there?
Yeah. So historically, the August numbers sometimes get revised for a variety of reasons, but lately they haven't. Who knows what will happen here? But the numbers are horrible. Consumer spending is good. The market loves everything for whatever reason, so the market's up. And there's some investment announcements. But I got to say, we talk all the time, Dan, about whether the fundamentals of the economy are strong. Between the uncertainty caused by the tariffs, between people's concerns about the big, beautiful bill, I say that in quotes, and this data and some other data, the Trump economic miracle is not happening before our eyes. Maybe he's right, it'll happen in a year. But what would you say about today's numbers and the economy generally, Dan?
Yeah, the numbers are not good at all. And I have said for the last several months that the fundamentals are pretty good. The fundamentals now appear to be not good. I mean, this is not Trump derangement syndrome. If you just look at what has come in the last few weeks, the job market openings has declined now and is at the lowest level in the last few years, meaning the number of positions available for people to fill. The consumer spending is declining. And what is being cited? Wages are not keeping up with inflation. Manufacturing is declining. These are just data. This is just data. So the problem is you can't keep saying it's the golden era and everything is great, and at the same time have all these numbers. And oh, by the way, political polls show voters in the working and middle class feel like the economy is not good.
Okay, hold on. Neither of you checked your phones. Have either of you seen the New York Times news alert on a different topic? Okay, don't look at your phones. It is a different topic, and then we're going to get back to Sean on the economy. He'll give Sean some time. We're going to talk in a little bit about
Sean wanted to change the topic.
No, I know. I just want to get the break.
I just called the New York Times.
We're going to talk in a little bit about the New York City mayor's race. There's a new development here. We talked yesterday. We said Adams wants a job that will help him make money after he has a brief stint in the government, right? We said that. So the New York Times is now reporting that he is up to be an ambassador to a particular country. If his goal is to make a lot of money after he briefly is an ambassador. What country would they be negotiating over? Sean.
Oh.
Think big.
I'm going.
Think biggest. Think absolute biggest.
China.
No, but good guess. Dan.
India.
I was going, wait, just to be honest,
Yeah.
until you said that, I was going Middle East, and I was in my head thinking, what isn't taken? So,
Saudi.
Okay, that was my guess.
Saudi.
And then you went, okay.
Talks between Adams and Trump Advisor Center on Saudi. Has Trump nominated someone already to be ambassador to Saudi Arabia?
I was, you should have just let me answer the question.
We said
By the way, all of Adam's friends are popping champagne corks right now.
And we said he wouldn't do anything where he'd have to be Senate confirmed. And I again, with undying respect for his honor, his qualifications to be ambassador to Saudi Arabia only are dwarfed by my son's. But it's hilarious. We'll talk more about it. Sean, what's the White House to do? I said that Scott Bessent wouldn't let the economy go into the crapper, but these numbers put them at least on the lid, and it's really one of those slanty lids. So what's going on? Like, the economy does not seem to be in heaven.
Look, I'm not there yet. I still think the fundamentals are strong. It's not. I mean, you can't.
What's strong besides consumer spending?
Look at the stock market.
It's not strong.
It's decent.
I think it's actually pretty good. I think when you look at the stock market, it continues to be strong. Investment, bringing back all of this manufacturing and investment into the United States is going to pay long-term dividends. The president's right about that.
Manufacturing declined for 10 straight months.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 straight months.
Or 5, sorry.
When I just to be clear, as far as the economy goes, I still think the fundamentals are strong. Look, not a great report, but to your point, if this results in a 50 basis point cut in the Fed, that will be huge. So I actually think that, look, we'll see what it does, but the amount of investment that the president is bringing back. 2 quick other points that I want to make. I'll be quick. Watching not just Zuckerberg there, but Bill Gates sitting next to the president, it was just one of the toughest things to swallow, knowing how much damage Bill Gates has done to the conservative movement. So that was and the second thing is, I know that we blew past this announcement at 4:00. One of the things that's going to be so critical about the change in name from Secretary back from Defense back to Secretary and Department of War is the method by which they have done this. This Trump 2.0 White House, it's not just a name change.
This has nothing to do with the economy, except
I know, but we blew by it.
We're going to come back to it. It's going to add billions. It's going to add billions to the deficit. Billions to the deficit.
It's not going to add billions.
It is.
It is not.
Every piece of stationery, every sign, the estimate is billions.
Yeah,
it is
when
Biden
money. Changed every name of an army base, no one seemed to care about money then. So I get a kick out of what the priorities are when everyone does stuff. This is not going to cost billions of dollars. No one shared any concern when Biden changed the name to everything.
I did. Forward looking here on RFKJ, we all saw the highlights of the hearing. Here's the president last night standing by his man. 104, please.
That effectively we're denying people vaccines. Do you have full confidence in what RFK Jr. is doing?
Well, I didn't get to watch the hearings today, but he's a very good person. And he means very well, and he's got some little different ideas. I guarantee a lot of the people at this table like RFK Jr., and I do. But he's got a different take, and we want to listen to all of those takes. But I heard he did very well today. But it's not your standard. It's not your standard talk, I would say, and that has to do with medical and vaccines. But if you look at what's going on in the world with health, and look at this country also with regard to health, I like the fact that he's different. Okay.
Okay. A couple yes/no questions on this. First of all, Sean, will Mr. Barrasso and Mr. Cassidy continue to ask demanding questions, or was the hearing just kind of a one-off?
I think Barrasso will continue to ask demanding questions, but that's fine.
Okay.
I think Kennedy crushed it though yesterday. I told you yesterday, I think that there are two worlds in which this hearing is being looked at. Every single person in Maha world was excited about how well he did yesterday.
He contains multitudes, and I've spoken very favorably about a lot of his messaging, but I don't know how you can say he crushed it when he lied repeatedly. and he was attacked repeatedly by Republicans. How can you say that's
repeatedly about Republicans? Barrasso and
Tillis and Cassidy,
okay.
all three of them.
Cassidy,
all three of them called him a liar. In effect, all three of them called him a danger to public health. So I don't know how the number two Republican in the Senate
handled themselves, because I think I was embarrassed of both Virginia senators. What Tim Kaine said yesterday about our rights not coming from a creator was embarrassing. I mean, that was a separate hearing. But I actually think he did a great job of pointing out the flaws in the CDC, the FDA, talking about what they've done in the past to undermine public health. So having this conversation is extremely important, and I thought he did a fantastic job.
I've never been more dumbfounded by anything you said on the program.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Well, I'm just going to tell you. Then you need to open your aperture to a lot more of what's coming. Every single person that is prominent in the Maha move.
Yeah. Do you think he lied yesterday?
About what? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
you know what?
40, he lied about 40 things. I could name a couple if you'd like.
To give me one, but I think I didn't watch the entire hearing from.
He said you have access to the COVID vaccine if you want it. That is not true.
Yes, it is.
Not true. No, it is not.
How is that not true?
Not the same access.
Because.
Well, wait. But again, see, now you're twisting his words. Okay, I saw the exchange with Elizabeth Warren. He said you still have access, and she said not the same. Okay,
he said he never said more people were killed by the vaccine than died from COVID.
And by the way, you do not have access. And I forget who the member of Congress's wife who is now having trouble getting it because the pharmacy said
it's Eric Erickson's wife who wrote a letter to Cassidy.
So look, all I'll say is this is our first 80-20 issue, and I would personally pay for RFK to keep opening his mouth. Just keep doing it. Even Trump's own pollster is warning people that the majority of Republicans believe in vaccines. Forget independents and forget Democrats. So Maha is 5%. The RFK coalition is at best 5% of the electorate.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that's true. That's not true.
How many votes would RFK get?
It's not about that. It's about how many people believe that the government and big pharma and big food are hurting kids. He's contributed historically on those issues.
But Mark, I agree with you. Split food off on vaccines. He is in the minority. It is our 80-20 issue, not food.
To me, it's not even his issue positions. To have a cabinet secretary lie repeatedly at a hearing.
Because it's all
and just to be clear, Biden cabinet members lied repeatedly at hearings. This isn't a partisan thing. I'll call out anybody who lies at a hearing. This guy lied repeatedly. And
he has no data.
And Sean, the number 2 Republican in the Senate effectively called him a liar. I mean, I don't know how that can be successful.
Again,
you can say
the politics that he had with the CDC.
You can say the politics of it are great because the base loves it, and I'll say okay, maybe. But that's not what I care about. What I care about is a cabinet secretary in charge of an enormous portion of the budget, a cabinet secretary in charge of the health of our kids, and a cabinet secretary in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. Because he contains multitudes, and because he is nuts, and because the White House can't get him out of control, lied repeatedly, so much so that the number 2 Republican, John Barrasso, who I can't remember ever being the slightest bit critical of anything with Trump associated with it, said to him as a doctor, "Sir, no." That can't be considered a success in my America.
Okay, I think that the only exchange I saw with Barrasso had to deal with the firing of the CDC head.
No, Barrasso said vaccines are great. What are you doing? I'm paraphrasing. I say with respect, I don't think you watched enough of the hearing to necessarily judge it fully, because I watched a lot of it and I'm flabbergasted. Even the press, which is normally so anti-Trump, I don't think covered it sufficiently and put in sharp enough relief. Not just the politics of Barrasso being critical. You can't have cabinet secretary in charge of public health lie repeatedly. You
know what was beautiful about that? And you're going to see Democrats saying there needs to be accountability and oversight of this White House. And they're going to roll the tapes. And that message is going to be so powerful. It already was powerful in even Republican focus groups. Now you're going to say, should RFK have stricter oversight?
So look, here's the one thing I'll say. If we're going down this thing, we're calling people. Mark Warner repeatedly asked him a question about
Great
how many people died. No, okay, but knowing what we know now about how hospitals used COVID deaths, just anyone who walked into a hospital got ruled as a COVID death.
Then, Sean,
we know that the data was manipulated.
Then give a minimum number. I don't think the guy knows the minimum number. He knows.
Do you
some
know the
people,
minimum number?
I'm not the head of HHS.
Okay, but my point is what he said, the answer that RFK gave is that the data is so conflicting on this issue. I actually believe that's true. Why is that a lie? The bottom line is we know, if you want to talk about who lied, it was medical professionals that actually covered up the number of deaths.
I didn't say he lied about the number of people who died. I just think, Sean, that they say Maha's great and Democrats handled COVID badly. Both true. But non-responsive to the question of, do you want to live in a country where the person in charge of our public health goes to a hearing, supposedly prepared, and lies to members of both parties repeatedly? I just don't want to live in that country. Just think it's
I think if you're going to say the word that someone lied, then give specifics about
I'll give
specific topic.
You want to spend the whole show on this? I'll give you specifics.
No, but
he was asked, did you ever, why did you say more people died from the vaccine than from COVID? And he said, I never said it. He lied. He did say it.
Okay. And again, here's what my point would be. Then come back, if you're that member, which is what I used to do as a committee staffer, come back and say, here's on the record what you said on this day. I didn't see that exchange. But if you're going to make that accusation, then say, this is exactly what you said. What you're shaking, but that's how you do it. You know this, Mark. You do it all the time. You come in and you say, you said this on March 1st, 2022, da-da-da-da. If you're going to make that accusation that somebody lied, then come with the receipts.
I literally could spend the whole show on it. All right.
Not you, but I'm saying if the Dems want to do that, and that's right.
You know, I'll never defend
we have a whole campaign
of members of Congress. Okay, we're going to jump around a little bit because we're not going to get to everything. So we want to get to your questions. Again, if you're here and you want to get in on the conversation, please raise your hand. Let's go to this issue. No, 106, please, because we got to talk more about this. The president of the United States ordered the murder, the destruction, the assassination, the elimination of alleged drug dealers with no notification to Congress, no consent, no war declaration, no publicly explained legal theory about why this is appropriate. Barack Obama did very similar things. So other presidents have done it. And I'm not telling you I'm against it. All I'm telling you is this is very controversial because where's the line? Could he send drone missiles into or ballistic missiles into Mexico and start killing drug dealers there? Sean, what do you think of this? Is this just a one-off, or is this a new policy? Does it trouble you at all in terms of America's role in the world, or not?
So there is a whole world of maritime law that governs this and rules of engagement. I mean, so there's two issues at play: our rules of engagement as a military, and two, international maritime law. And I will argue that on the latter, at least, I am not an expert. I have a strong feeling that before they did this, and I know that at least publicly, so I'll get into just what's in the public domain. There was a lot of discussion about what authorities they do have and what was the basis of determining that we had an imminent threat. So the bottom line is this kind of thing just doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not like someone just said, hey, give me the order to go do that. That is a coordinated strike that occurs. And so all I'll say is things like that don't just happen. Anytime that there is a shot fired of this nature, we are actually going to take someone out without being under fire. So if you're under fire, it's very different rules of engagement versus proactively doing this. I don't think that this just happened in a vacuum. This was very thought out, very well executed. And again, happening to your point in international waters is very different.
Under what authority did the president kill 8 people?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They had to have determined that there was an imminent threat to the United States. And that was, my guess is that you've already had, I think, the House seek, and there's a letter going to Johnson that will explain the authority in which this basis occurred. But this is, to your point, if you're going to do this in international waters, this isn't a one-off. This was a shot across the bow, so to speak, that says we are entering a new phase in how we will protect and defend the United States.
Dan, does this bother you at all, or worry you?
Yeah, it does, because I worry about what other countries may do now. So there was a speedboat 1,000 miles away from us that, John, if you're going to be, generous, you're saying was an imminent threat to the United States.
No. Just to be clear, not what
I
I'm saying. And like what I'm saying is what they have to have determined.
no, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but given how vague that is, what if another country says there was a boat off its coast and it's a boat of Americans and they blow it up? They're all dead, so nobody knows what was going on, and they just say, "This is what we, thought."
Yeah, at least unlike Barack Obama, he didn't kill, as far as we know, an American citizen, but still. All right, Gavin Newsom. New poll shows, another new poll out showing he's the front runner statistically for the Democratic nomination. Growth in that poll as in others. Here's a headline from The Hill, 109. Our friend Amy Parnes writes, Newsom is becoming an obsession for Democrats beyond California. Reports that his name keeps coming up at fundraisers and with activists, and really is the talk of the process right now. And a reminder where the potential next president of the United States gets most of his news. This is 108, please.
You're a Substacker now. You're a podcaster. Obviously, you've done some of the networks and continue to be part of that. But what I'm enjoying and where I'm seeing Sean Spicer, my guest here on the Gavin Newsom show, every morning is on Two-Way with Mark Halperin. And you're there battling out, but you're doing it in a civil way that, dare I say, provides almost a civic contribution because of your own unique experiences. Obviously, Mark, Dan, your co-hosts.
So presumably if he wins, he'll be on every morning. It'll become like a little voice, whatever. Sean, is he still on a ride or is the momentum abated?
No, I mean, look, I never want to pretend to speak for the other party, but if I were a Democrat, I think a guy like this is showing that he can be anywhere, do anything. He knows how to fight. I mean, again, I'm trying to be an objective observer here. Obviously, these aren't the policies that I would ever want, but I think that he is showing the Democrats you can go out there, you can fight. He comes across. Look at how he's dressed, right? He actually is. He knows how to dress up for an event where he can look really dapper, and he knows how to dress down. And I say this as a guy who sometimes people don't know how to read the room. Gavin Newsom knows how to read a room. He is, I think, going places no one will go. He's showing Democrats you can take the fight to people. This is what Trump did. Trump went to podcasts and places that Republicans had traditionally not gone to, brought in new constituencies. Look, if on our side, he is the one that I would worry about the most. Now, I think we have plenty of issues to go after him on, policy fights to have with him. But if I were a Democrat, this is the guy that I would say he can take this fight to the next generation of Republicans.
Dan, amongst the interesting things Sean just said is Republicans he suggested, are starting to worry most about Newsom. And I have to tell you, I've experienced the same thing. And that's a big turnaround because 3 months ago, if I asked any Republican, what about Gavin Newsom? Could he beat Vance? Would he be a strong candidate? They all said, oh, my God, bring him on. We'll run against the California record all day long. If Newsom is considered the most electable Republican, a Democrat, and let's be honest, not everybody in the party wants to nominate a woman or a gay person. That's just a reality.
Yep.
Right now, the 4 top candidates in almost every poll are 2 women and a gay man.
Yep.
So and him, and
AOC, Harris, and Pete Buttigieg.
And Pete Buttigieg. So again, I ask you, is he ending the week even stronger than before?
Yes, and it wasn't just. I'm going to eat some crow here. I wasn't just Republicans who thought he was weak. Yours truly did. Even wrote a Substack on that very point. He's proving me wrong. Sean said something really key. He is everywhere now. Every time an event happens, he's jumping in and commenting, just like Donald Trump. Overnight, Trump started mocking Newsom, right?
Yeah.
So now you've got Vance going after him, Stephen Chung, Fox. Now Trump's starting to go out. If you're Newsom, this is the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
Like
the press is treating him. The press is treating him like he's the de facto opposition leader,
and he looks joyful. He's having fun doing this. He's laughing. The party's laughing with him, Trump, because all of this is to mock. That's all it is. So Newsom's stronger.
Yeah. All right, quickly, we got to get
one last thing on Newsom that I'll just say. Look, because he came up in the California, San Francisco pipeline. He has a lot of bona fides on the left, right? So he can go play a lot farther into the middle and the right than a lot of other people can, because he's kind of got that box check that, hey, I got the left covered. And I think that gives him a lot of room to move.
Sean, one slight disagreement. The
Great
base
point.
has never trusted him because they think he changes his positions. This has got the base in his corner because he's actually picking up some success.
Yeah.
And so they're looking past their like worries.
And it allows him to go left, right, situationally, knowing he's got room. Again, we're not saying he's going to be the nominee, but we're telling you something that's important, I believe. All right. This weekend, a couple things to watch for before we get to winners and losers, just teeing up the conversation. First of all, the president, according to page 6, 110, is going to the U.S. Open. That means for those of you fortunate enough to have $10,000 tickets to go to the finals will be dealing with a lot of traffic. Donald Trump plans to return to U.S. Open finals decade after being booed at the U.S. tournament. We'll be curious to see how he is received there. According to the page 6, if you're taking a Blade helicopter from Manhattan to Flushing, Queens, you're going to have to depart a little bit early because they're not going to let helicopters land while the president's on site. And then the Sunday shows replete with interesting guests. Let's hope the hosts are up to the task of asking good questions. Zelensky, Ro Khanna, Mr. Massey on this week, Kevin Hassett, less interesting, 2 senators, Kathy Hochul on Fox News Sunday, and then there's some more interesting guests coming up. Yeah, here, meet the press, granddaddy of them all, Scott Bessent, Governor Moore, and newly engaged Cory Booker. Interesting guests. All right, here we go. Winners, losers, what to look for. Dan, winner of the week.
My winner of the week is Big Tech. That was quite a scene last night.
Good call.
They are getting basically everything that they want. The president is worshiping, I think, their wealth, their power. He loves hanging out with the richest people in the world. Big Tech. Who would have thought that after Republicans ran railing against Big Tech? They own Big Tech.
Sean, winner of the week.
By the way, Dan, good poll on that one. I didn't even see that one coming, but I'll give you a lot on that. I hate it that you're right because it upsets me so much, but you're absolutely right. My winner of the week is where dinner was supposed to be and will be tonight. So it is the Rose Garden. I think one of the things that is fundamental to this understanding of Trump 2.0 is that it's how he is going to leave his mark on the presidency in this country. And it's not just the policies, but it's literally when you stop and think for a moment, this kind of stuff, the things that he is doing, the big ballroom, the Rose Garden, it didn't just happen. He is able to have thought about this over 4 years, what works, what didn't. And I know to me, that is a symbolic way in which he's putting his imprint on the presidency. So it's not the actual Rose Garden itself, but it's how Trump is able to use the second term to do things differently.
Winner of the week, Dan was half right. Billionaires. They got to show once again that they're cozy in the White House, but also, as they say in Dumb and Dumber, you're telling me there's a chance billionaires may avoid a socialist mayor. Not a sure thing, but this activity to get Adams and maybe Slow out of the race means the billionaires may avoid having to sell all their New York assets. Sean, loser of the week.
You probably saw this yesterday coming. Let me just show you one of the biggest disappointments I've seen all week in America. Play it for me, please.
Could you and Daryl ever see yourselves sharing a stage again?
I doubt it. No, not. I won't say I doubt it. I would say no.
What would it take?
Nothing. It's not about money. It's not about anything. I think that, that ship has sailed.
Right.
And well, if you want to go a little deeper into
I think we're good. Mark, you said on the Dumb and Dumber quote, that famous line, there's a chance. John Oates saying there is no chance of Hall and Oates getting back together.
Who's the loser? The American people?
America.
Yes. Yeah.
America. And frankly, the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dan.
Okay. My loser of the week, congressional Republicans. This was a rough week when you think about the midterms. The economy is slowing. I think Jeffrey Epstein's going to keep dogging them. RFKJ could become an albatross. And I would not lose sight of the fact of Donald Trump sitting around with a bunch of billionaires while the job market is slowing. And what the images of that may start appearing in campaign ads pretty soon, that he's focused on them. He is not focused on you.
Loser of the week, sleep. What kind of football game has a 40-minute delay for lightning? Ridiculous.
Actually, Mark,
Eagles,
the funny part that you bring that up, there's a big study that Axios posted this week about sleep, people feeling like they're behind already. So that's very timely.
Yeah.
New York, I think, was the second worst in the country for least amount of sleep.
Yes. Sean, what are you looking for this weekend?
Two things: deployments, where they go, do they happen, and who shows up on the Rose Garden tonight and potentially the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. Party every night. Dan, who will be invited to the Rose Garden first amongst the three of us, would you say?
Oh, Sean. I assume Sean's already put his feet up there once.
All right. Hey, White House social office, invite Dan first. Screw it all up.
I'm in town Monday, Tuesday.
Dan, what are you looking for this weekend?
All right, my Mets are at the Cincinnati Reds. They got a 4-game lead for the last wild card spot over those Cincinnati Reds. This is a big September series.
Wrong.
Also, Mark, will Mayor Adams be in the box with Donald Trump?
No. Wrong. The correct answer can be summed up in 6 simple words. Are you ready for some football?
Yes.
The NFL on Sunday. All right. Please raise your hand if you want to be in on the conversation. One quick spot from our sponsor, and then your questions and comments. We look forward to them. Again, we need 3 new people, or this is the last episode of the show. So if you've never raised your hand, please do so. All right. Speaking of being tired and sleep, if you're looking to find a way to get more rest, if you're dragging and exhausted, try this. CB Distillery. CBD from CB Distillery can make a real difference. It's not just about sleep, though. Also, if you're feeling muscle aches, your body needs some help, stress, pain after exercise, even mood and focus issues. For many people, the answer is the clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD from CB Distillery. Over 2 million people trust their products. And now, if you're ready for better sleep, less stress, you want to try it out, you have an opportunity to do it with a 25% discount courtesy of the generosity of Dan Turrentine, who underwrites all of this now. 25% off your entire purchase. Go to cbdistillery.com. Use the promo code MARK, not Dan, Mark, cbdistillery.com. That gets you 25% off. Give it a try now. All right, your questions and comments. I'm looking to see who's new. There's some old people whose hands I want to get to as well. So let's see. Nicole, have you ever been on this show before? No, you haven't. Nicole brings us 1/3 of the way there. She hasn't even opened her mouth yet. Nicole, welcome in. Thank you for being part of Two-Way. Tell us where you are, what's on your mind.
I am a new resident of Tennessee. My comments have to do with the job numbers.
Yeah.
I have a real personal frustration with where we're at in the job numbers now, because I feel like they're a direct reflection of not lowering the rates 2 months ago. I think that when we look at the effect of tariffs and how much our economy has to shift to try and negotiate those new shipping requirements and supply chains, that the lower interest rates for businesses that would need to borrow in order to create new onshore buildings or at least receiving centers or manufacturing, like that would have been really helpful 2 months ago to get ahead of where we are right now. I think those job numbers also reflect the fact that we're losing government and federal jobs. And so I think that's an important thing to point out, which is actually part of, I mean, I'm a Trumper, so that's part of our hope, right? So like, as the job numbers look bad, I'm also happy to see that like the inflated federal jobs that we did have are coming back down, and all of that. I think that inflated government jobs did a lot to misrepresent our GDP for a long time during Biden. And so I think that that coming down has a big impact on the economy. And we will look at that number without considering the fact that this might be long-term what we're hoping for. I think that plays a little bit off that. But I do think that what it does is it exposes the fact that holding on to the rates for this long has led us here. It almost seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like before they're like, oh, we're going to hold on to see what happens. We want to make sure jobs is good. We want to see what unemployment does. And now we've gotten to the point where we're deporting a bunch of illegals that might have been holding jobs. So those jobs aren't being filled because the people, we need a catch-up moment, right? Like there's a moment where we need like a couple of months to have everybody do what they need to do in order for the tariffs not to tank us.
Yeah. Nicole, brilliant. Do you work in finance?
I don't.
Yeah,
I am a human. I am a regular human.
You're very well informed, and thank you for sharing all that. Incredibly interesting. I just want to let Dan and Sean pick up on anything. No, all good, all good. No, that was great. Sean, you first. A comment or question for Nicole, whatever you want.
I just great observation, Nicole. I absolutely agree. I hope the Fed goes to full 50 basis points because I think it's so important for. We've talked about this before tangentially. This issue of home ownership, it actually is great for the national debt too. It gets what we pay on the interest on our debt, which is a massive problem. So that helps on that in the short term. It's going to help with affordability overall, and I also think home ownership in particular. So for all those reasons, plus the ones that you've said, I feel like Shark Tank now. I'm in.
Yeah.
Dan.
Well,
go ahead, Nicole.
So I just want to say that I'm trying. So I have a house on the market right now. As far as like home ownership's involved, it was our first starter home, and now we've moved on, which is amazing. But I'm having such a problem with people being able to afford the home. Like the last person got like a 7.2% mortgage rate, and I just like that is out of control. That's out of control. And I also feel like this has been so political, which is the frustrating part. And I don't agree. Listen, I think that going after Trump for certain things were petty, and I think it's petty on this side too. Okay, so I don't love what's happening with the Fed and Lisa Cook and all of this, but I do think that like you held out too long, buddy. And now do we think that like a 50-point cut at once is just gonna swing us the whole other way?
Yeah.
You know.
Boy, I mean, look, I say this with respect. It's wild to hear all this justification for the economy, that it's all look, the Fed's job is two things: monitor employment and monitor inflation. So what would you want the Fed to use to make their decisions? I want them to use data, right? That's what I would want them to use. What I heard from Trump and Republicans the last 6 months is this is the golden era, the greatest economy ever. According to Trump, on January 20th, it was the worst. On January 21st, it was the greatest. I mean, that's a remarkable turnaround in 24 hours. So the Fed's job is to monitor those two things. In August, they announced we are going to focus more on jobs than inflation. That's what they said, right? I've heard for years how much of inflation was a killer for this country. It was, right? So now they're putting their cards on the table because they're facing the devil's choice. You got to pick one. So now they're going to start to potentially cut interest rates. So okay, the economy is clearly slowing. So now they're going to do that.
Well, and we have seen the jump in employment. Unemployment jumps, right? Now we're at unemployment jumping, right? So now there is kind of like a forward-facing.
There is data. Yeah, I mean, that's what you would want your Federal Reserve to do. Not politics, but look at hardcore data. And so now, you talk about like affordability. Most of the housing market, it's the opposite. The supply is so low and demand is so high that most people can't afford to buy a home, period. Interest rates aren't helping. You bring interest rates down and more people can jump in. You're going to have even more demand. Supply needs to go up. That's a different issue, but it's a problem.
Nicole, all I'd say besides thank you, since you just moved to Tennessee, is if you're addressing more than 3 people, call them all y'all, not just y'all. That's my only advice I can give you. Thank you, Nicole. Grateful to you. Thank you for saving the show, or at least getting us a third of the way there. Nathan, you're also new to the platform, at least raising your hand, correct?
Yes, sir.
Very grateful to you. Tell us where you are and what's on your mind for Dan and Sean.
I'm in western Wisconsin. I kind of missed out on your clip there last night where you're talking to a bunch of people from Wisconsin, but I did want to ask you guys something. I know it's not probably top of mind for a lot of people, but with all these, I guess, leaders meeting Trump and whatnot, I don't typically hear you guys talking about AI, and I'm curious if anybody's ever, or if any of you guys have thought about not the implications for work and the political ramifications or anything, but have you ever actually looked into what we would consider intelligence and consciousness? Is it possible one day that an AI could be so intelligent that we would recognize it in any political sense or legal sense?
Great metaphysical, technological, legal question. Dan, you first, then Sean. Thank you, Nathan, for the question.
So yeah, I mean, AI it's the dominant conversation in a lot of settings these days. Whether it's legal, finance, education, I mean everything. It is racing into our lives. Its impact on hiring. So yeah, I think about it a lot. I don't know where it's going. There are people just in law, right? Some people say it's going to replace all associates and all paralegals. Well, then how do they train the next generation of partners? How do you bring people up through it? So one managing partner at a prominent law firm told me, we're actually hiring even more associates now because we do have to train them. Yes, AI can do some of this, but it's in our interest to develop them. Well, that runs counter to what everyone says. It's going to put everyone out of business. So I don't know where it's all going to go, but it's a huge topic of conversation. And look, politically, no one wants to really talk about this. I mean, just the impacts.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Sean.
Fantastic question. I agree with Dan. I mean, the impacts of this, I can't imagine looking back in a generation at what this time is like. I was at a back to school night and for our kids last night, and it was just fascinating to hear, to Dan's point, how they're addressing it, because their goal, they want to keep teaching. Like any kid can say, write me a book report on the Odyssey, but they want to make sure these kids understand the critical analysis that comes into reading a book, writing a report, and everything. And so how we maintain certain skills moving forward is critical. Like you think about the Navy in particular, we stopped doing celestial navigation for a while. And then suddenly you start to go, well, what happens when someone knocks out all the satellites? So if we don't remember our core fundamentals going forward, what it takes to do basic equations, whatever, that's going to be a problem. And the impact it has on media, law, politics. We are already, Mark, I don't know if we were ready to talk about this. We have an entire team protecting the morning meeting going forward so that there are not 3 AI people talking about this every morning.
Yeah, they'd be pretty good. Nathan, thank you. Great question. Thank you for being a part of Two-Way. Now, they say America is a great nation. Is it possible that the program has been saved by Turner doing double duty on daycare and barefoot? Turner, have you been on this show before?
So I've been on it a ton, but I haven't actually been, called upon.
Yeah, but you never raised your hand. I mean,
yeah.
all right.
And the baby counts.
Grateful to you. That's a cute baby. Is that your baby?
Yeah, her name's Sophia.
Sophia, you are super cute. Look at that. And what's the name of Sophia's monkey?
It's actually a doll.
Oh, a doll. All right.
No name.
Sorry. What's the name of that? What's the name of that doll?
I guess just doll. The classic.
Okay. Sophia and doll, welcome to Two-Way.
Yeah.
Turner, thank you for raising your hand and saving the program. Very big day for everybody. And I like when people come on barefoot because I've never worn shoes during the program. So thank you for that. What's on your mind? What's on your mind, sir? And where are you?
So I'm from Tennessee. I was on the group chat last night.
Yeah, I was going to say,
RN, and I'm about to be an MP here in about a year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm getting my doctorate. I'm going to be a family nurse practitioner as well as acute care. So I worked in the ICU during COVID. And it's also the ICU that does heart attack patients.
Yeah.
And I will say there is some real issue with the statistics because we had patients that were coming for heart attacks that would test incidentally for COVID. And so they would have to come to our unit because of that. So there's some real issue with the data about whether it's accurate and I know RFKJ is very polarizing. And, I think he should stick more to the chronic illnesses because I think that's his bread and butter. I think when he gets into the vaccine, it gets a little hairy because I believe the vaccines are great. But there's some real issues with some of them, like the Hep B. Like Dr. Roger Marshall was on that committee last night. Yep. And he's an OBGYN, and so he has a lot of experience with this. And he's saying, women that get prenatal care and are tested for it, we should be focusing more on that. And even Dr. Rand Paul was talking about this on Twitter as well. So Hep B has some real issues with it. I mean, the real issue is the complication with Hep C. And so you're trying to avoid that later in life. But if you test and they're negative for it, then there's no vertical transmission to the baby during the delivery. So, I understand everybody wants to give vaccines across the board, but I think we need to have real conversations about what's medically necessary.
Turner, really well said. Thank you for that. Did you want to ask a question or just make that point?
Mainly that might make that point, but I think, the political side of this is we could have a more nuanced conversation about this issue rather than kind of just demonizing RFKJ because
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything he says, but I think his focus on trying to get healthy and stuff like that is really important because we do have a chronic illness problem.
100%. And I never want to demonize him, and I have plenty of positive things to say about him. I just think he shouldn't go to a committee hearing and say what he said. Sean, comments on what Turner said or question for Turner?
The thing that I think is important is like, look, he obviously, someone like Turner's had a medical training. This is what I think we're missing, though, is this discussion of what makes sense. I had a Dr. Peter McCullough on my show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked the same question. And that's all I think, is that when we're told you can't ask a question or the science is settled, when you hear the schedule of vaccines that we're putting kids under, especially to Turner's point about Hep B in particular, why are we giving them whatever it is, 18 jabs on day one, 96 before whatever it is, they're 5? And all I want to know is, does it make sense? And a bunch of doctors are saying, well, in your case, yes. In that case, no. In this case, maybe. But when you're told asking the question doesn't make sense, that's a problem. And I think we have now gotten to the point where we've just said, just do what we tell you to do, comrades. Don't ask any questions. Don't question. That's a problem.
I just completely disagree with that. No one is saying you can't ask questions of science. Science is based on asking questions all day, every day, constantly reevaluating and innovating and learning.
Yeah.
I think the challenge for RFK on a lot of this is he has had views for years, and he seems to want people to find data to fit his views versus letting the science lead to the answer.
Yeah.
And at least the allegation from many people who resigned is that they basically had the proverbial gun put to their head to say, you're going to sign off on this. And they said there is no data to support it. And where RFK is getting in trouble is he's not producing it.
Hold on one second. But pop up Fox real quick. Kevin Hassett's on. I just want to see what he's saying about the job numbers. Turner, thank you. Very grateful to you. Please come back. While we listen,
and thanks for joining the group chat yesterday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Spring that the Fed could have, if they knew the data were going to look like that, begin cutting rates.
Okay,
and so
listen,
right now, futures markets are expecting them to cut rates about 3 times.
We'll see whether or not we get 3 times. Yeah, that would be significant. We've got more questions. I hope you get a chance to come back because there'll be
all
more
right.
to
We
talk
missed it.
about,
We'll try to pick up what he said off of Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, making his long-awaited, often expected return to the morning meeting, the Upper East Side's Greg Kelly. Greg, is Jerry Nadler your congressman?
That would be Central Park.
No, I'm on the east side.
Yeah, but his district.
He's part of
I know it convolutes all the way over to.
Who's
to
your
Queens.
who's your congressman? Do you know?
Is it AOC? I
don't know. We'll look it up.
She's Queens. I think you're Nadler. I think you're Nadler.
Who else has Manhattan?
Because it was Carolyn McCarthy, and then they combined the districts.
Right. Yeah.
What is her name?
Well, Greg,
coming from that,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Greg. But if
it's a good question.
If it is your district, I'd like you to run as well. Dan and I are both going to run. We'd like you to run too.
There's a demonstration of why I never have members of Congress on my show.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who their congressman is, and they're always available. Look,
Greg, are you in New York Central Park right now?
Yeah, that's the reservoir.
That's the reservoir. I know right where he is.
Looks beautiful. Greg, so happy to hear. Can't wait to hear what's on your mind, but eager to hear what you think about the mayor's race.
Fascinating. Look, not only is Adams leaving the race, but there is a rumor, a pretty well-sourced rumor, that Mamdani is in trouble regarding his fundraising. And something dramatic could happen in the next 10 days. I despise Mamdani, and he would be horrible for the city. The idea of a campaign finance violation, obviously those things happen, but they're usually not adjudicated until well after the election or whatever. There's rumblings that something could happen this month regarding his fundraising and foreign money and that kind of thing. Adams is on his way out. And if it does happen that it's Cuomo versus Mamdani, I think that Cuomo actually loses. He lost the first time. I think he's going to lose again. I think the turnout would be very low. I don't know, though.
What percentage of the vote do you think Mamdani would get in a 2-person race?
It's hard to say. Let me put it to you this way. This, more importantly, Betsy McCoy, who's a great student of urban politics and former lieutenant governor, she says if turnout can get above 50%, there's no way Mamdani can win, which is fascinating. Mayoral turnout tends to be about 25%.
Right.
However, 50% turnout is not inconceivable. We had 50% turnout for the presidential in New York City.
Yeah.
So,
Greg,
times.
we're up against the clock a little bit. I know you're familiar with that. What's on your mind?
I love you guys, Sean, when you said about changing the Department of War and what about the bases? Absolutely brilliant. Laugh out loud. I watch every day, but I actually am not on live every day. I just think you guys are so amazing. It's very important for you guys in particular to maintain your independence, which you're doing. I'm not saying it's been compromised, but when you show up on somebody like Gavin Newsom's podcast and, we assess, wow, he, knows how to dress for a podcast. I feel like we have an influence culture now and the influencers go on each other's podcasts and that's a way to kind of co-opt people. And that's kind of dangerous. It was just a matter of months ago that Gavin Newsom crashed and burned and was lying to constituents on television. But that's all forgotten now because he's got a nifty game on Twitter, which isn't that nifty. He's just mimicking Trump. Let's face it. It concerns me. Quite frankly, it's a scandal that he should even have a podcast. So Rush called us the drive-by media. We can't forget that stuff. I'm just a little bit surprised that there's renewed confidence in Gavin Newsom. President Trump isn't wrong when he talks about his hand maneuvers, which I'm doing right now. So that's what I wanted to add. I hope that makes sense.
Can I get clarity on this?
Sean, sorry, before you do that, Greg, are you wearing a coat?
The vest, isn't it?
I'm wearing a vest.
Isn't it hot out there?
It's in the 60s right now.
What do you think about the amazing observation?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just a little confused by the visual. Sean, go ahead.
No, I'm confused. Are you? What is the knock? I'm trying to figure out. Is the knock going on the podcast? Is the knock conflating my analysis with an appearance? Like what is the?
You don't have to diminish it. It's not just a knock. I mean, look, I don't think. I try to think of Ronald Reagan having journalists on his own show, right? This is Gavin Newsom's podcast is, I think, part of the problem, and his scam here is to co-opt MAGA, or look, he's the reasonable guy who, and I said the same thing to Charlie Kirk. I don't think he should have gone on that show.
So should people have had Trump on last year?
So let me just say this.
No. It's a big difference.
Hold on. Let Sean respond. Let Sean. Hold on.
It's a big difference between a guest and a host.
Greg, let Sean respond.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. So look, I am very critical of a lot of Republicans going on a lot of shows. So I will be very clear. If you watch that show, I think where I have a problem with Republicans or conservatives, where they go play patty cake with people and sort of go, yeah, you've got a good point, or, oh my God, whatever. I believe that part of the reason that Trump was so successful is he went to places that we normally don't go on the right to spread our message. I went there and I was very clear about how proud I am of the job that President Trump's doing, the America First agenda, why I'm proud to support it, conservative and fiscal principles, and went back and forth with him several times. Feel free to watch it if you disagree with that. But one of the ways in which we grow is to go to audiences that, Gavin's got a big audience. Look at the numbers on his podcast. And my view is if I can go there and say, are the views of the right of the America First agenda are better and are achieving results for this country, then to me, that's how we grow the movement, how we grow the party. Where I do have a problem, and I would agree with you, is when people go on shows and act like wallflowers and get run over. But if you look at Marco Rubio, Scott Bassett going on CBS, taking it to Margaret Brennan, making the media look like fools, I think that's smart. So I think there's a big difference between going and playing patty cake and sucking up to these guys and making sure that we're being strong advocates of our position and our policies and priorities. So Gavin Newsom has a platform. He has a podcast. And then my analysis of that, of what he is doing right, is more of a warning to our side. This is a guy, he's coming in our rearview mirror. We better be prepared. And this is how he's doing it. So if you don't take him seriously, I think that would be the stupid thing.
Well, it's not stupid. I don't take him seriously.
No, not you, Greg. I'm not.
Okay.
This isn't a critique of you. I'm just saying if we on the right don't take him serious as a candidate, then that would be stupid.
I think I've seen MAGA panic like this since in the last year and a half. Look at you guys. You're worried about
What do you mean MAGA panic? I am annoyed.
You're worried about people interacting with Gavin Newsom and going on his podcast. Why? Well, if he's a nothing burger, what do you care?
No, listen to this. All right. First of all, Sean, what time was the podcast? What time and what day did you record that podcast?
Last Tuesday or Wednesday, so a week ago.
What time of day?
Where is this going?
Where it's
Ellery?
going is Gavin Newsom should not even have a podcast. The man is a full-time governor, and he is dicking around in media and looking.
Should Donald Trump be hosting parties?
Yeah, and putting on True Social sumo wrestling images. Greg, come on.
No, not come on. I mean, look.
Should Donald Trump play golf?
One more thing. One more
times
thing.
A week.
You guys said, Sean, you didn't show us giving Gavin Newsom a hard time. You showed Gavin Newsom endorsing this show, right? That's the highlight. And there's been a lot of.
Greg,
I'm sorry.
yesterday we played clips.
Yesterday we played other clips from the appearance.
Gavin Newsom, if you're watching, high five, my man.
Congratulations,
Greg, we got to go because we're over time. But just send a little message to Gavin Newsom since apparently he'll be watching.
One more thing.
Yeah.
There is a long-term danger when you guys go on these mainstream media shows that you will become like the mainstream media and cultivate.
It'll never
their
happen.
Approval, their opinion. Okay.
Never happen.
I've seen
never
it.
Happen.
I've seen it happen before.
Not to us, Greg. We're uncorruptible.
Okay, you're the best.
Greg, thank you for calling in. Sorry to take you off, but we are past time. Sean, quickly, what do you have tonight?
Tonight, we're doing a big deep dive on voter sentiment versus polling. Where is the country? Chris Wilson from Eyes Over is going to join us to break it down because there's a big difference. He was the Pulse of the Year in 2021. Why does he think voter sentiment is a more accurate read than polling? And then, by the way, just to give you a heads up, on Monday, former Governor Rod Blagojevich is going to talk to us about crime in Illinois and what the right thing to do is. So, that'll probably send Greg into a tailspin. But
all right,
kidding.
4 o'clock. Ethan Strauss, his guest Joe Pompiliona of the Joe Pomp Show. 4 o'clock. Get your sports update from Ethan. Don't forget again, Joe and Ethan. 2 p.m. Is it 2 p.m. special
That's what
time?
it says on the promo here.
2 p.m. Sorry, special time. No, not special time. Show's moved to 2 p.m. Right? I think the show's moved to 2 p.m. I should know. Believe the show's moved to 2 p.m. In any event, it's 2 p.m. today. 2 p.m. Random Offensive. If you've not sampled it, please do on the eve of the NFL first full Sunday. And I'll be here at 6 o'clock with my guests, Greg Kelly and Gavin Newsom. No, just kidding. Join me at 6 o'clock tonight for a full summary of all the day's news, including the president's big photo op and the latest on Mayor Adams headed to Saudi Arabia, perhaps, and our final time together, regularly scheduled at least for the week. So I'll see you at 6, and all three of us will be back Monday morning at 9 a.m. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of the two-way community, and thanks to the three of you who saved the program. Maureen, come back on Monday because I got a lot of questions I've been meaning to ask you about the FBI. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then.